There in London, Maggie Lake in New York, thanks to both of you. As we noted, let's look at Asia now. We're going a bit in reverse order. China slowing down, certainly if you look at the numbers. Its banks, though, appear to have come out largely unscathed. That's the word from Joseph Meuse, the founder and president of Belmont Partners. He joins us now from Washington. Joseph, there's a lot of people that believe that Chinese banks are exposed to hundreds of billions of dollars in bad debts lent by Communist Party members, you know, who got their loans for their favorite factory in their districts. But they're in a completely different position than the West. Why?
Well, for the most part, the Chinese banks have actually taken a relatively conservative approach. Now, Jim, you talk about loans to friendly corporations in their home districts. That certainly did take place. But the lending, the banking in China, they stopped lending to businesses probably 2 or 3 years ago. A lot of people don't understand that, but to go get a business loan in China 2008, let alone 2006, you were lucky to get a one-year term loan backed by a lot of assets. So they've been tightening their lending, as opposed to in the U.S. maybe the last 6 months. They've been tightening there for the last 2 or 3 years. So there's less exposure to bad loans. And frankly, people need to remember that the communist government there, most of the people who run the financial side of the government are engineers by training. So if they don't understand it, they're not going to do it. Things like derivatives and subprime loans and all of that, they just didn't understand. They didn't get involved in it, and now they're sitting in a really great position.
Well, there's another thing to be considered here, too, and that's the amount of foreign reserves that China is sitting on right now.
Right. They're in a great position right now. They're sitting on a lot of foreign reserves. I think it's roughly $2 trillion. They're sitting on the ability to lower the lending rate, which they've started to adjust. Their bank reserve ratio is more than 50% more than what it is here in the U.S. I mean, so they have real tools. We talk about the tool belt here that Ben Bernanke has. It's nothing compared to what the Chinese government has.
But one point, you're just back from China, from yet another tour there, taking a look at what is going on. But their factory closures are something that the Chinese workers are not used to seeing, and they're having to face that down right now.
Jim, absolutely. You know, what's interesting is that we started to see a lot of this back in January and February, the Chinese New Year. A lot of workers did not return to the factory from where they were in the country. A lot of factories have already started to relocate themselves away from the more expensive eastern shore of China, inland to where it's less expensive. So our view on the GDP at 9% is that it's actually a lagging indicator. And while it might dip down a little bit more, for the most part, this is the bottom.
All right, Charles Meuse there, joining us from New York, an expert in Chinese economics, looking at the markets there. Thank you so much for weighing in. All right, let's shift.